First of all, thank you very much for inviting me here. And traditionally, I'd like to thank to Ukrainian soldiers who are fighting just now on the battlefield, to men and women who are actually protecting us. And we can be here on this beautiful city when Russian aggressors attacking Ukrainian territory. Talking about the military picture, I would say that I think Maria described the situation, and actually your question had an answer. Why Russia started to make these nuclear fake operations, like dirty bombs? Why Russia started to this annexation? Why Russia started this so-called mobilization? Because they totally lost on battlefield. In reality, Ukrainian armed forces already defeated professional Russian army. They doesn't exist now. So now they started to recruit criminals. They started to recruit by mobilization normal people. It's not the soldiers. They are just normal people who believed Putin somehow. Or maybe they don't believe Putin, but living in this dictatorship, they need to go to die because of Putin ideas. And this is the reality of this war on the current moment, that even we're talking about winter, for Putin in reality, now the main task here and a goal on the battlefield, to stop Ukrainian armed forces, which is continuing the offensive operation on south and east, and do not allow Ukrainians to deliberate new lands, to freeze this situation till the spring, because these genocide missile strikes, you remember a couple of weeks ago, they started to make hundreds of missile strikes, especially to civilian infrastructure. No military, I underline, no military objects. Only energy, only electricity, only the heating facilities in Ukrainian cities to organize, I call it Holodomor. We had a Golodomor, but now they're trying to organize another genocide, Holodomor. Like, I think in Serbian language, Holod, Hlad, it's the same like in Ukrainian. So it's to freeze Ukrainian people, they started to protest against Zelensky, because one of the main myths of Russian propaganda that Zelensky is extremist, Nazist, but Ukrainian people just under the influence of this Nazist ideology. But Maria told 90% of Ukrainians, they are not a zombie. They just want to be free. They just want to live in normal country, in democratic world, in normal economy, to make business, to live in comfortable conditions, and have a self-development for their children in normal, civilized, not like in Russia. We understood, I heard the Prize Nobel laureate, she told that we didn't recognize that Putin so dangerous for Russia. We recognize this very, very easy. When Yanukovych arrived to the office, we recognized this is Putin. Putin methods, Putin technologies. And that's why we push out Yanukovych, do not allow them to build Russia in Ukraine. It was 2013, 2014. And that's why Putin decided to start the war in 2014. In 2024, it was a new escalation. So talking about the battlefield, I think the main forecast, Putin will try to freeze the situation, because he thinks that time playing for him, because we'll try to organize this crazy bad winter for Ukraine and Europe, of course. He's dreaming about the energy crisis in Europe, and that's why he's trying to stop Ukrainian offensive operations. But I think he will get opposite, because when after this massive missile and Iranian drone strikes against civilian infrastructure, we have even more intentions to go forward and to liberate our land.
Thank you, Mykhailo, for this picture of Ukraine's determination. So how does Ukraine make its case to those countries that have not yet condemned Russia's aggression and that are still sitting on the fence? Because their support will be very critical also at the global level, at the UN level, to drive any Ukrainian initiatives forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I support Maria, everything that talking about NATO, it's absolutely fake. It's an anti-Americanism, and especially here, for example, in Serbia, using the pattern like, okay, Russia is fighting with NATO is very easily here to explain people that why actually they shouldn't support Ukraine and why they should be, let's say, neutral in this war. It's very easy. If they fighting with NATO, we remember in 1999, so it's very easy to understand for Serbian people why they should be outside of this war, because two Slavic nations fighting each other, okay. But in the same time, I would say that no NATO in this case, absolutely no NATO. And Russian leadership, and especially Putin, absolutely understand it, never will fight with NATO, never will fight with NATO. Even now, if you look at the map, and you see the military units of Russia, they put out all of military units from Finland border. Even Finland now is becoming a NATO member. So if they are afraid of NATO, if they are preparing for a war with NATO, they should send more troops to Finland border. But at the same time, they put it out and then send it to Ukrainian front. And actually, everything in this war about the imperialistic complex of Putin and people like Dugin. I strongly advise you read Dugin books, every explanation here. In all of Dugin Geopolitics, explanation of Ukrainian question, they call it like this. How to solve Ukrainian question? Only one or couple sentences in big book. Just solve Ukrainian question. This is answer. Yeah. That's all. Solve Ukrainian question means they don't recognize Ukrainian as a nation, the separate nation. They're talking about that Ukrainians are only Russians, but with zombie propaganda in the head. So denazification means to kill Ukrainians, which is not trying to be proper Russians. This is clear fascism and Nazism, but this fascism, Nazism proclaim that they are fighting with Nazism. Yeah. This is explanation. And one word about the perceiving and how to understand this war. We are fighting for values. Values, again, to be free, to live in country which we want to build. And we explained it for Putin several times. In 2004-5, the first revolution. Second, 2014, when the revolution of dignity, and of course, 2014, the start of the war. This is a question of values. This is a question of revenge of Putin. He told that the collapse of Soviet Union was the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the 20th century, and he understood that he is a messiah with mission to solve this problem, to build a Soviet Union or Soviet Empire 2.0, yeah. 2.0 again. And Ukrainian understanding of this war, we won't give you a chance, yeah. to do it.
Yeah.